Oh, Lucky! Welcome to Lucky Channel! Sorry, I mean Crew Reviews. Right, it's time for the Figma of the Lucky Star Figmas. And I'm going to start off with the first one, which is Konata Izumi from Lucky Star. And this one is one of the first Figmas too. It's number 8. And the package of this figure looks pretty nice. It has some nice schoolyard artwork with trees and everything. It's quite colorful. And there's the license sticker if you want to know. And there's art on the side, the poses on the back, and art on top and on the bottom. Now, Konata is one of my favorite characters because, as many people and fans say, the character is very easy to recognize yourself into, especially the way she are collecting things, many things she say, and how she handles school, doing things, studying the day before, and still passing the tests. That's exactly how I did in school. I was gaming all the way until the days before the test and everything. She's just such a nice and character to you really feel into if you are a collector and hobbyist, and she's funny too. Alright, here she is, Konata Izumi, or Kona-chan, in winter uniform. And I checked out the sculpture and I really think this is very accurate, and I'm going to show you before we check out the articulation. I also take in consideration that this is an older Figma, and I highly noticeable because those parts are hard plastic instead of soft PVC like it used to be on newer Figmas. However, it does not stop it too much, even though it could have been a little bit more posable if it were like that. Also, the hair is solid. Some a bit newer Figmas, like Shanna for example, have jointed hair in order to pose the hair slightly as well. However, it's also, in a way, it is a good thing with a full sculpture, because joints can destroy the sculpture a bit. However, Figma usually have very smooth joints, so it's just a part of the figure itself. So Figmas should really be as jointed as possible, in as good way as possible. Another difference between this compared to if it were released today is that this part is also hard instead of it should have been soft. However, that's nothing that stops the articulation at all. So enough about that and the differences. The sculpture is nice. The paint job is also clean. Even if it's not exactly as smooth as a new Figma, it's still clean. There are no painting mistakes really. So the articulation is of course a ball jointed head. The hair is quite long, so you get idea. And of course there is the midsection is jointed, a ball joint too. A quite tight and good joint, it's not loose or anything. And the arms are of course ball jointed, and the elbows are jointed. And I'm not going to remove this hand right now because I know it's one of those older hand joints. However, it swivels and turns like this, so it works like a ball joint. However, just like with my Saber and some other older Figmas, there is a small ball at the end of the peg, so you need to carefully remove the hand, because I had an accident that it broke on my Shiro Figma. But I'm not sure, those seem to have a little bit thicker joint. However, I'm not going to take any risks, because I know older Figmas are more prone to break compared to the newer ones. So let's move on to the leg articulation, which is of course ball jointed legs. Pretty unlimited. That adds to Konata's athletic nature. If it wasn't for the hair, she could have been able to sit. And the skirt is of course soft to allow that. And there's of course knee joints and ball jointed feet. So except for very long hair that limits her even more than it limits Shana, she's still very poseable, and that's good because I want to pose up some nice dance moves together with the Haruhi Figmas and other like star Figmas. So of course, on to the accessories, which of course Figma bag and of course a Figma stand. The mandatory accessories that have been with Figma even since the start. And it's nice that the design have not changed either, because all Figmas are very unified. Yeah, someone is cutting the garden outside. However, I don't care. And next accessory is of course a set of hands. And there is of course an extra face, which is this face that you see in the intro sequence when they say like darling, darling, please. So it's like extremely overjoyed expression. And there's also one of those chocolate things, so it can be detached, I think. I don't know. However, that she eats, that's her iconic lunch. And there's another hand that can hold like this too. I'm not sure what they were called. I need to rewatch the series, but I think a chocolate cone of some kind. And that's about it in the accessories. It's not very much. Some iconic things. You can do a lot of fun stuff still with the hands and everything. I know there's some more accessories with the summer uniform version, and that's for a later time because I haven't ordered those yet. However, they are on my list because of my greater plan of ordering 2 of each. Not the exclusive, but 2 of each Lucky Star Figma. In order to have all those 4 extra characters included with the summer uniform versions, all in both summer and winter uniform. That means 8 figures with each uniform type. Just because it's cool, and I do it because I can. Also, I forgot to tell you one thing in my talking spree, that this part is removable, so that you can put the stand here. There's also a hole in the back. However, this Figma didn't have this extra long hair add-on to the stand, and the hair is very tight going to the body, so even with that part it will be difficult. But you can attach the stand to the hair. That's really nifty, I think. It's the same with some K-On! Figmas, Mio and Mugi. And talking that, as I said in the K-On! Reviews, I got a lot of those long hair extensions left over because the K-On! Figures all had those, even the characters without the long hair. That means I have enough to give to Konata. Alright, here she is. Konata Izumi posed up in a fairly basic pose, but that's because my lack of space on the shelves at the moment. But I think this is quite iconic still. I'm not going to give any size comparison in this review because I'm doing that all as the reviews progress in the Lucky Star series. So for now, here is Konata Izumi posed up, quite basic. It's a little bit tricky to get the pose you want with the head angle when the base is attached to the head, because you need to adapt the body after the angle of the head that's connected to the stand. So it's a little bit easier to pose up figures with the stand connected to the torso, because then you have the freedom to alter the head afterwards. Now you need to adjust it accordingly all the time. But except that, the leg articulation and the arms works perfectly, and that's what matters actually. It's just that it takes a little longer to get the angle you want. Well, except for that, this is a good Figma, especially considering it's an older Figma. It's smooth and nice. You don't get much accessories though. Maybe there could have been a few more accessories. However, I cannot think of anything specific to include right now. Maybe some game or something for her. And there's a lot more faces that could have been done. But I think they got the most iconic ones, and I know the other versions have more faces. So before I say too much, I'm going to check them out too. So until next time, which is Tsukasa Hiragi, take care and sayonara.